Haymaker honey wheat, a refreshing spin on a traditional Hefeweizen with a twist. By introducing locally sourced honey to the fermentation, this light and refreshing beer changes with the seasons. In the spring and summer months, the flavor of the honey tends to be light and floral, while in the fall and winter months, the flavor of the honey tends to take on a more intense and rich flavor. You can really taste the seasons change as the bees adjust their source of pollen with the ever-changing seasons.
Milk Mustache Stout. Back in 2012, we wanted to support a local group who were growing their Movember mustaches during the month of November to raise funds for the Movember Foundation. We settled on creating a milk stout for the event, and it ended up being such a popular beer we've been making it ever since. The milk sugar from the lactose is the key to creating a nice sweet flavor and full-bodied beer. Lactose itself is not fermentable, like most simple sugars, which in the end leaves the perfect amount of sweetness to mingle with the chocolate and roasted flavors of this delicious and mustache-creating stout.
Delicious red apple cider. What started out as a seasonal offering and an alternative to all beer all of the time, fans of this cider quickly let us know they wanted this cider on the menu all of the time. Whether you're looking for something gluten-free or just an alternative to our beer on occasion, we think this is one of the finest ciders you're going to find. To keep up with the demand, we have had to make some recipe adjustments, as well as invest in specific cider making equipment to improve the process and deliver what we think is the best cider in New Mexico. Not too sweet and not too tart. It is good to the core.
New Mexican lager. Who doesn't like to throw back a traditional Mexican lager on a hot summer day while getting some work done in the yard? We felt like we needed to offer up our own lawnmower beer. So we designed a beer that borrowed from the tradition of Mexican lagers with a splash of local craft. The goal was a low alcohol by volume percentage with a light and refreshing flavor that played well with or without the traditional squeeze of lime. Blood orange. By starting off with our delicious red cider base and then adding a blood orange puree, we are able to create a cider with just the right amount of citrus for those cider fans who need a little something extra. SOD Buster Pale Ale. Two of our all-time favorite craft beers are Sierra Nevada Pale and Deschutes Mirror Pond Pale Ale. SOD Buster is inspired by these great beers and leans heavily on that great Northwestern hop we all love, Cascade. With a nice hop nose and just the right amount of bitterness, this is a great beer for all occasions. Berry cider. An alternative to our traditional apple cider, this berry cider is packed full of the flavors from blackberries, raspberries, and blueberries. When we first started making the berry cider, we added fresh berries to the primary fermentation, and while it was delicious, it was always a little different due to the seasons and our ability to source fresh berries year-around. As it grew in popularity, we changed the process in order to provide a greater level of consistency. We now source juice, instead of fresh berries, from a farm in Oregon who is able to provide us with delicious raspberry, blackberry, and blueberry juices throughout the year. Pilsner 15. This Pilsner is all about sticking to the basics and honoring the age-old process of brewing a traditional German-style Pilsner. Brewed with Pilsner malt imported from Germany, along with the noble hops such as Teninger, which are also sourced from Germany, this beer is simple and delicious. When we created this recipe back in the early days as a brewer here at Tractor, the number 15 came up many times. The recipe called for 15 bags of Pilsner malt. The starting gravity of the beer is 15 degrees Plato. It was the 15th batch of beer we brewed at Tractor, and we brewed it on the 15th day of the month. Hence the name Pilsner 15.
Farmer's Tan Red Ale. By taking a few hints from the Irish and a few hints from the Scottish, we think we have come up with a finely balanced red ale. Unlike its American cousin, the amber ale, which is hop forward, this red ale highlights the sweet toffee and mild chocolate notes of the amber malt, with just enough hop flavour to balance out the flavours.
Acreage IPA. New Mexico loves a big IPA that punches you with big flavor and over-the-top bitterness. At 120 IBUs and light malt base, this beer is all about showcasing the amazing flavor and bitterness that shine through from the Citra and Simcoe hops. No malt or hop balance to talk about here. It's all about assaulting your palate with big notes of citrus and pine, followed by aggressive bitterness.